Hey guys, it's Elise and welcome back to My Cupcake Addiction. So a year ago, when I hit 100,000 followers on Instagram, one of my best friends bought me this shirt. And she made me promise that I would wear it when and if I hit 1 million followers. I was like, yeah, sure, no problems, as if that's ever gonna happen. But as it turns out, it just did. So I think at 1 million followers, it's okay to wear a shirt that says, I'm kind of a big deal on Instagram. I'm super excited. Thank you to everyone that follows me over there. It's amazing being able to have somewhere that I can just literally share fun photos of sweet treats from all around the place. And thanks to all of you guys that tag me in your photos because I love seeing the things that you guys bake. Now, Instagram also changed their logo. Instagram, when you change your logo, it affects us all. My surprise inside rainbow Instagram cake is now completely obsolete and we needed to update the Instagram offering. So today I'm going to show you how to make little Instagram candy bars. I'm going to show you how to get that kind of cool marbled rainbow logo in a little chocolate Instagram candy bar package. Let's get started. So you're going to need candy bars. Choose your favorites. I've gone with Kinder Buenos, Snickers and Twix bars. You're also going to need white chocolate. I don't recommend candy melts here purely because there's quite a lot going on and white chocolate just tastes a bit better. And I've colored mine myself using oil or powder-based food colorings. So I've got pink, orange, purple, yellow, and blue. If you're wondering why they're all sitting over here in a tray, this tray is actually filled with boiling water and that's just helping to keep everything at temperature so I don't have to keep on microwaving them. But I'm also going to show you a cool trick with that as we get started on our little Instagram logos. I've got some white fondant, a fondant roller, and a little bit of corn flour to roll out. And I've got a few different tools. So I've got 2 different size square cutters, 1 small circle cutter, and as my other super small circle cutters, I'm using piping tips. I can leave dimensions of those down below. I've also got this square brownie tin. I've had this for ages and I had no idea that it was going to come in so handy for doing things like Instagram and Facebook and app logos. So we're going to be using that today. Let's get into it. First thing that you want to do is prepare your candy bars. So for my Buenos, they always have a tendency to kind of break in the middle anyway. I'm going to push them to the side. You want each of them in sections of 2. So basically where they would normally break. And then just trim them so they're really nice and flat. Whenever you're doing this, you want to size it up against your pan. It has to not only fit inside the pan, it actually has to have room on either side of all 4 edges so that you can drag the outsides of your Instagram logo and you don't have chocolate poking through the sides. Your Buenos are going to go in sets of 2, so that's 1 finger of Bueno per Instagram candy bar. And then your Snickers bar, I think I worked out you've got to cut it just slightly less than half. Now looking at those 2, I found they were just a little bit too wide. So they're sort of the right length, but they're a bit too wide. And I want them to be joined together nicely. So I'm going to take, God, I don't even know how much that is. It's a delicious amount, just a thin little side of each of my halves of Snickers. And if you ask me, the Snickers is actually your best value. So if you're going to choose which one of these you eat, I would go the Snickers because you're only getting half a Bueno and you're only getting half a Twix. But you're getting a whole Snickers, almost a whole Snickers. And then for the Twix, the same as the Bueno, you just want to slice your 2 halves in half. So you end up with 4 pieces. And again, just sizing them up to make sure they're going to fit perfect. Now, one thing that's problematic can always be your chocolate setting at the worst possible moments. So I invented this strategy yesterday as I was prepping these and it works brilliantly. Boiling water into a tray. Do not attempt to move the tray at all while that water is still boiling because trays this size full of boiling water are almost impossible to move without scalding yourself. In goes my metal tin. That's going to keep the base of my metal tin nice and hot while I go through my process and it's going to keep all of my chocolate melted. For these, we need the chocolate to kind of blend together, so it's imperative that they stay melted. I recommend having your phone nearby because it does pay to be able to reference the actual Instagram logo while you're doing this. So I'm going to just put spoonfuls of my colors in and around my tray in around the same spaces that they are on the logo, but opposite. So you need to remember when we tip these out, there's going to be a mirror image effect happening. So if you put the blue exactly where it is on the logo in the pan like this, it's going to be on the opposite side when we turn them out. I'm going to start with blue in my top right corner because I know I want it to be top left. And just about quarter to a half of a teaspoon, just in the top corner. Try not to let it dribble onto other areas. I mean, it doesn't matter if a little bit does, but try not to let it go out of its little zone too much. My next color is going to be purple in the top opposite side, and I'm only making 6 today because I only need 6. I found it easiest to then go to the bottom half, and then you can kind of fill the middle in with the pink once you've got all your four corners accounted for. And then the orange kind of goes like in a bit of a long line. I'm going to say a long line, if that's the technical term, around that yellow. Kind of a streak. And then finally you can fill it in with the pink. If you have any areas like this guy where there's actually quite a bit of the orange, use a toothpick or something just to tidy that orange up a bit. My husband wanted me to say out loud in this video that these were his idea, but I won't. Not quite the Instagram logo yet. I'm going to carefully pull that tin out, and the tops are warm, but they're not super hot. And I'm just going to wipe the base with a towel so I don't end up getting water everywhere and making a big mess. I'm done with my tray. So to move it, I'm just going to carefully slide it. Very carefully. Water in a tray has a life of its own. Okay, now the first thing you want to do is shake it all about. We want to try and sort of mesh those guys in together a little bit. And then I'm going to take just a skewer or a toothpick, and you're just going to, you want to make sure that you get all the way down to the bottom, but kind of do just a few figure eights through. It'll look super marbled on top, but it won't look that marbled underneath. Beautiful. Let's get to candy stuffing. So you want all of the flat sides of your candy going against the top of your Instagram. So effectively your candy bars are going to be upside down candy bars, but that's so that you don't have any of these peaks and rises poke through that unset top section of your little Instagram candy bars. Keep them as close together as possible. For the sides and the top, it doesn't matter so much if it's not the exact colors. So I'm just gonna take any two and just put two colors of chocolate together in a bag and kind of use all of that up and then move on to the next two. I like to do the two colors because it kind of completes that tie-dye-y kind of look. Cut off a generous tip and pipe it in. Nice and firm amount of pressure around those outside edges because you wanna make sure that you don't have any gaps or air bubbles in between the top of your Instagram logo and the sidewalls, and then just fill it in. Try to keep it just below the line of the outside of the little candy mold. All right, give that one a couple of taps on the bench, just gently, and pop it off into the fridge for at least 30 minutes to set. While those are up in the fridge setting, there's no need to wait for them to be finished before we make all of our little Instagram details. So sprinkle down a little bit of corn flour or cornstarch. And I did think you could also just pipe around a template and make these out of white chocolate, but the fondant's gonna be neater, smoother, and whiter. Roll that fondant as thin as you can. You really don't want it too thick or else it's gonna look all chunky on top of our logos. And then I've got my two square cutters. I'll leave dimensions of these down below, but you want them really, really close together so you can kind of see the differentiation in size on those two. I'm gonna cut a small square and then I'm gonna cut a large square around the outside edge. So with the small square, you can remove it, and that enables you to be able to look overhead and actually see that you're getting it nice and square. So all of your sides are even. I rub my cookie cutter gently back and forward, and then I'm just going to release and leave it where it is on the little piece of board. Try not to move it around too much. Out of the centerpiece, you're going to use your small circle cutter, cut out one little shutter circle, and then the larger of my piping tips is going to go in the center and cut out the middle. And this one here, it's pretty easy to get it back into shape, but you want to make sure that it's nice and not ridgy around the edges. And then finally, press out that square so you've got a really thin piece, and then use your little tiny round cutter to cut out that little shutter that goes in the very top section. You'll probably need something to pop it out the end because those ones tend to get stuck. Taking that and again, just neaten off the edges so it's really nice and round, and pop it over with your larger circle. After about 30 minutes, you should have all of your decorations setting and ready to go, but let's see how our little Instagram logo candy bars have turned out. Always the most exciting and nerve-wracking part. So I'm just gonna press gently underneath. They're so close to being done. So you can see you've got kind of that marbled edge on the sides. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. These guys are all about the top. I love the little rounded edge that pan gives them, just like the actual Instagram logo. But let's stick our shutters on and finish off our Instagram candy bars. I've got a paintbrush and just a little bit of water. So I'm just gonna paint just a small amount of water on the back, all four sides. When you put on that little shutter circle, make sure that you're leaving enough space on the side so that you can fit in your little flash. And when you do put on the little flash circle, that's actually what defines the orientation. So make sure that you're looking at it. These are so incredibly cute. I can't even stand it. One of the things that I love most is that you can actually color code the backs of them to the candy bars that they are. This was an awesome way of celebrating 1 million of you guys on Instagram. Thank you guys for watching. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do for 2 new videos every week. And as always, thanks very much for watching. And now the moment of truth. We taste. You gotta taste. Which one will I get? Snickers!